Okay, welcome everyone to our Why I Chose UCSF student panel for our pre-dental webinars every month. Thank you for tuning in with us today. So this month we're going to be talking about why I chose UCSF. If you've been joining us for our past few webinars throughout the course of the year, Brad and I have been talking about student life here at UCSF, housing, how to prepare to apply for dental school, interview tips and tricks for dental school, and also celebrating research at UCSF. And today we have four lovely panelists who are going to introduce themselves, and they are going to talk about why they chose to attend UCSF School of Dentistry. As always, we have a tiny URL link here. If you want to submit your questions, we'll be filtering them live, and you guys can feel free to pick anyone's brains. They've generously offered their time to share more about their experiences here at UCSF. Okay, so to start, I'm going to have everyone give their name and a little bit background about themselves.
Sure. So my name is Rahul Naka. I'm one of the international students here who is into the advanced training program, and I did my dentistry in India, and then I applied for an international program, and here I am at UCSF.
Hi everyone, my name is Luan Tran. I'm a D1 from Los Angeles. I went to undergrad in UC San Diego and just graduated this past year before joining UCSF in the fall.
Hey guys, my name is Naya. I'm a D3 here at UCSF. I'm originally from Maryland, but I went to high school and undergrad in Arizona, so I claim both places as home. I went to Arizona State University and my major was nutrition. I graduated in 2016.
Wonderful. And I'm Jenny. You guys are probably sick of seeing my face by now, but I'm a D2 here at UCSF. I'm originally from Sacramento, California, and I went to UC Davis and graduated in 2018. All right, so the first question we have for everyone is, what drew you to dentistry? Do you want to start, Rahul?
Sure. So dentistry is a unique subject. I was always interested in healthcare, but what amazed me about dentistry was the amalgamation of art and science. I always enjoyed doing art crafts. My hand was good at it, and at the same time, I was always interested in healthcare, giving back to patients, and enjoy that white coat. So I believe the dentistry was perfect for me. And again, it was when you think that dentistry could be good, but at the same time, you also need to visit a shadow. I did shadow a dentist a few times, and that's when I realized, yes, this is what I'm doing, and yes, that's why I'm here.
What drew me to dentistry was a little different. I started out as an engineer at UC San Diego. I loved all the hands-on aspect of engineering and all the physics and you learn about it, but I felt like kind of missing that building relationship aspect that dentistry could have. And after volunteering a little bit at a dental clinic, I found that building those relationships could be something I could really do in the career and something I really enjoyed. So I found dentistry as that balance between interpersonal relationships while at the same time working with your hands and science and problem solving.
I always kind of say that dentistry found me. Honestly though, I was 12 years old and I was I want to be a dentist. I don't know what possessed me at 12 years old to say this, but I kind of ran with it and I kind of just went with it. I still kind of wonder back, what was this first encounter that I had, but I ran with it. In high school and undergrad, I did a lot of shadowing, just to make sure it was something I really wanted to do. I know I was going to be a doctor, and I just didn't know what aspect. But I think shadowing medical doctors, shadowing nurses, shadowing pharmacists, there was something amazing about the patient interaction that you had between the dentist and their patients, especially the ones who were super excited to be there. I want to do ortho, so those were they were always really excited to come into the orthodontist office. So just seeing that interaction, just seeing the lifestyle that you can have with still being a doctor, still having autonomy to make your own decisions, but and then just impacting someone's life in a greater way. So that was my reason.
Cool. And I guess my reason, it may sound a little generic, but I actually have 3 generations of dentists in my family. So my grandpa was a dentist in Vietnam, my mom was a dentist in Germany where I was born, and my whole family growing up said, don't be a dentist. We have too many of them in our family. We don't need them. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll go do something else. And so when we moved to the US, my parents always told me, like, this is your American dream. You can choose whatever career path you might want. This is what your education opportunities are here for. And I was like, okay. So when I searched everything, I thought I really loved teaching and education. But as I grew older and I saw like different facets of the profession that were interesting to me, I loved the ability of dentistry to be able to touch people, to provide like a really, really tangible service for them and improve their quality of life quickly. And it also has a really interesting teaching component that I've grown to love throughout dental school. And so I think that's what drew me to dentistry. Cool. So our next question is, why did you guys choose UCSF among other dental programs?
So for me, whenever I start to select a school, I look at three different aspects in school. The first thing is the clinical program. The second would be the faculty and all the other learning opportunities I have at the school. And thirdly would be the tuition, which is way important with today's generation of having high student debt. So we need to make those decisions as well. So for me, the clinical experience, UCSF is one of the best schools. I would say it's not just because of my personal bias, but I have seen students. I've been meeting students from different schools as part of the organizations I've been working with, and that's where I see that yes, I'm being provided, being supported, and I am getting ton of different clinical experiences. And apart from clinical experiences, we have one of the very good faculty members who support you personally, professionally, and at the same time, school provides for you. If you want to specialize, if you want to be in research, or if you are into leadership and extracurricular activities, school will provide that. And thirdly, tuition. Yes, San Francisco is one of the expensive cities to live in, but when you consider the tuition among different California schools, I would say this is a better value for money. So overall, UCSF ticks all the three check marks for me, and that's why I'm here with UCSF.
Why I choose UCSF. So UCSF is among many great dental schools, and I applied to about 11 and heard back from about 6. So it was a really tough decision for me because I really enjoyed all my interviews there, all the people I've met, and all the faculty I've met. So, but I think the distinguishing factor for me about UCSF was their student life. Upon like meeting a bunch of D1s, D2s, D3s throughout my interviews, I saw like they're really genuinely happy to be there. And I think a large part of that is due to the pass no pass system that they do for their grading. So this kind of leads to like an environment that are like not competitive. Everyone's there to support each other, while also you have that time to really put into extracurriculars and doing really what you really love. So like such as volunteering, research, teaching, and I think it really goes to show because UCSF has such an active student body and with all their students so involved in so many different aspects of dentistry. And that's why I chose it.
You guys kind of both took my answers of why I chose UCSF, but kind of just piggybacking off of both of you guys. Honestly, I think I had only applied to 5 schools. I was kind of late in the game, so I kind of only applied to 5, and I wanted to kind of like stay on the West Coast. So I applied to 5 of them. But honestly, I think this was my last interview too, and I had been on my other interviews, and there was just something about the nature of UCSF, like just stepping on this campus. Everyone here was just so helpful, wanting to help. Like, this is my interview day, and people were willing to just like lend a helping hand no matter what. We have like a UCSF Dance Day that one of the organizations puts on. So like you were able to stay with a dental student before you even got to UCSF. You got a dinner the night before, and you got to interact with current students who were interviewing, and then actually like current students in the school, and just to get their insight and just to actually hear and actually see. Because people at times are like, oh yeah, my school's amazing, but when you actually physically see people not like lying to you and being honest with you at the same time, I think a lot of schools have pros and cons, but when the pros are like literally like the ones that you're looking for, I think this was kind of like the easy choice. Like you said, we're past no pass, so that makes a really collaborative environment. And then we also have like independent study options. So we have like afternoons off where you're given time to do whatever you want. If you want to call your mom, if you want to do your laundry, study, if you really want to do research, whatever you really want to do on those 2 half days, you have the opportunity to do so. So I think it really creates a nature that allows students to do what they want to do, and kind of like what we were talking about opportunities. There's literally so many freaking opportunities here at UCSF.
It's
Like
endless.
anything that you want to do, you can do. Whether you want to do something interprofessional, you can do it. When you want to do research, you can do it. Volunteering, like I don't know how our school does it, but it really supports you in any endeavor that you really want to do.
Great. Okay, so before I answer, I just want to encourage you all to submit questions to the tiny URL that you see at the bottom of the screen. We have a really diverse panel of all different students and their journey into dental school so far, so definitely take advantage of that. I know a couple of you guys have submitted questions so far, so we're excited to see more of them. And why did I choose UCSF among other choices? So kind of like Luan, I applied to about 12 or 13 schools, and I had, I think, 7 options. And I think what Rahul says is important. Definitely evaluate like cost, your quality of life, if you would be happy there. For me, I got the Navy scholarship for the health professions program. So then I was able to eliminate that really big factor cost. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to think about price. I'm going to think about the school that's going to make me the happiest ultimately when I go there. And for me, I wanted to stay close to home, and I'm from Sacramento. So then I kind of narrowed it down to the California schools. And then comparing a couple of the programs in the state, I thought that UCSF would give me the best quality of life. Like Naya was saying, the ISO that we have, we get 1 to 2 afternoons off a week, which is really nice because I know that some other programs they'll go 8 to 5 every day, and sometimes you have to choose if you're gonna dedicate your energy in the day to going to class, if you're gonna catch up in sim lab, or you're gonna catch up on doing things that you need to take care of yourself to do. So I really, really appreciate our ISO. And also I think the student community here at UCSF is like second to none. When I was a D1, I met Naya, and I was just like floored by her generosity. She just had clinic today, and she rushed over here at 5 p.m. to be on this panel with us, super short notice. Same with Rahul and everyone else I've met here. There's just like a vibe that like you cannot ignore when you come to UCSF.
Yeah, and on top of that, I would like to answer, it's not just about the clinical program and the school, but also administratively. There are a lot of schools where you have to book your own chairs. So I know that in a few other schools, I don't want to name, that you have to wake up at 6 and you have to book chairs, and it gets booked in advance. So there is like it's different departments. So you have like for like cleaning, for filling something, you have to book everything. Here we have our specific chair. We don't have to wake up at 6 to book our chairs. We have our assigned chairs. So administratively, I think it's one of the easier programs, and we are getting enough support on that aspect as well. Which administrative part is usually overlooked when we like look into the selecting schools. But this is like, fortunately, we are in one of the better schools administratively.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was also going to add to you have. Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no.
You'll finish. Oh, okay. You'll finish. I was also going to say too, like, honestly, dental schools are all amazing. I mean, I'm a little biased because I think UCSF is pretty amazing, and I mean, like, we're UCSF, but you're going to get a good education anywhere you go. At the end of the day, you can make it whatever you want to make it, but you have to realize, like, you're going to be here for 4 years. Dental school is so stressful wherever you go. So you want to make sure that you have different avenues to be able to get rid of that stress. So I think that's why I was like saying, like, UCSF has a really good way of doing that. So just make sure you're picking, like, whether you want to live in a city or a town, like, just making sure that you're looking at all the aspects around it, the student body, they all factor in to making your experience a little better.
Building off what Naya said about how stressful dental school can be, I think our school does a really great job with mentorship. Like the class above me, I have helped us so much throughout like dental school.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know how we've gone through anatomy without their help. And this is like all on their own time. They're really busy with their own schedules, but they make the time to set up review sessions for us, go through like mock practicals, and just even checking up on us in like sim lab too. Like I was in sim lab last night, and there was just a bunch of D2s working on their test cases and practicing and everything. But they came by to like check up on me, like, oh yeah, like how are you doing? Like, how was last week's test? How are you doing with the wax and everything? Like, do you need any help? So that just goes to show like how much they really care about like not just their own class, but like other classes as well. And I think that was like a really cool thing that I didn't know too much about when I came to UCSF.
Thank you, guys. Okay, our next question is, what is one thing you learned about UCSF that you did not know prior to coming here?
Yeah, that's the question I think I already answered about administrative part.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yes, which I didn't know, and it's been really good, especially like being international at Buchanan. Most of my stuff is already handled by the front desk, so I don't even have to take care of my schedule compared to you guys, where you have flexibility of booking your own schedules. So yes, administrative has been good. Even for residency, all the recommendation letters, dean's letter, everything was way before time, so we didn't have to stress it.
Well, I kind of jumped the gun on on my answer there. So yeah, the mentorship that we got from the D2s in class above us, they really like help us a lot because dental school there's so much you can do, not only with like academics, but also all the other organizations that you come by. There are like volunteering opportunities, and I know I got roped into some of them, and I do not regret any of them. And I would have known about them like unless like, the D2s have didn't tell me. And I think it's a really cool thing too to have like somebody who's ahead of you in in their dental career to kind of show you like, oh, this is where it gets hard, and this is what you do to get around it. Like this is how you overcome these obstacles, and it just makes dental school a lot more enjoyable. Like you have like that support system, and you have those people that can support you no matter what.
I think for me, there's a lot of things I didn't know about UCSF before I got here that were really amazing. I think one of the biggest things um, that stood out to me was our interprofessional education. You have to think about it. We're going to go out into the healthcare field and we're going to have to work with different health professionals that are not just going to be dentists. They're going to be medical doctors, they're going to be pharmacists, they're going to be nurses, they're going to be physical therapists, and you're going to need to know who they are and you need to be able to interact with them. So I think that we do a really good job with creating those relationships. Like some of my best friends are like in different schools. And I love the opportunity. We have like interprofessional education that we have to do our first and second year, and I think it kind of trickles into our third year a little bit as well. And there's different electives that you can take with the other schools. There's different organizations that you can do, and it's just meeting people that you wouldn't have met. So you have a bigger community outside of the dental school too. You have like a whole UCSF healthcare professional aspect, and I think it's really unique. And you learn a lot that you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, I think what Naya said is so true. I had no idea that like this what the UCSF environment really was. And I think one thing that I was really pleasantly surprised by was all the things non-dental related that I'm learning. So for example, just one, like Naya was saying, we have a lot of interprofessional work. We also have a lot of interprofessional electives, like we can learn about insurance or policy and advocacy. We can learn about community dentistry, just a lot of things to supplement your education that is outside of like anatomy and biochemistry, for example, or SimLab. And I think the reason we do have that is because there's so many people on this campus that are passionate about their fields of work and their research, and they're excited to share about it and share their innovations with us. Great. Okay. And then our next question is, how has UCSF influenced the way that you hope to practice dentistry?
Yeah, definitely a lot. So we are, let's again, I'm biased, but we are in one of the premier institutes, and they are teaching dentistry, which is really top notch, and among one of the world renowned faculty are here teaching us. So, like when we talk about camera, you may probably, I'm not sure if you know about it or not. It's been
Look
one
it
of
up if you haven't.
yes, yes. This is a big word when you come to UCSF, and the way we, which has influences like doing all the preventive aspects, treatment planning, what stuff needs to be done before and later on, and how to comprehensively treat a patient. You are not just treating a tooth, but you are treating a person as a whole, and that's what has been one of the biggest factor learning dentistry here at UCSF.
I haven't been to clinic too much since I just got here. I just got here 2 months ago, so I can't really say too much about it. But I do know that like even the few sessions that we've had in clinic, they've really emphasized like Rahul said, seeing patients as human beings, not just like a treatment you fulfill. So like they just encourage us like to maintain like professionalism, like and respect the patient rather than just going through your check boxes. And I think they're doing a great job so far, and I hope to see what they'll teach me in the future.
Kind of piggybacking off of what you said, it's just basically we really preach like patient-centered care here at UCSF. And it's just like really like looking at the patient as a whole. Like you have to realize it's not their tooth, like you were saying. It's what is their lifestyle? Do they have kids? Are they married? Why aren't they able to do these like simple like brushing their teeth or flossing their teeth? Like, what is the main reason for them not being motivated to do these things? So looking at those different aspects to try to create a plan for them to actually become motivated, and looking at those different aspects. I forgot my train of thought. Let's see something. But
Yeah, that's good.
I
'Cause
honestly
you could
can't
like
even.
look
Yeah,
in someone's mouth and be like
yeah,
caries or gum inflammation.
yeah.
But if your patient is maybe like not super health literate or they're lacking some resources, it's kind of your responsibility and your duty as a healthcare provider to give them as much information and help as you can. And so for us, it's like more than just drilling and filling. Like we want to understand the patient, we want to understand their community, their healthcare barriers, things like that. And that will ultimately, I think, help us serve patients best in the future.
It's not kind of like just like you said, like not jumping the gun. I've talked to a lot of my other like dental friends, like when we go to conferences and stuff, and like like we just like talk about different cases. And we're like, we'll do this, like super invasive treatment, when you could have taken a step back and like figured out
Like
things that are more
cause.
preventative. Yeah. So looking at a more preventative aspect of dentistry and practicing it, practicing that.
Mm-hmm. And then I also want to add, I think UCSF has really because of the opportunities here, it's really opened my eyes to like different parts of dentistry. So I never thought of specializing at all before I entered dental school. I still don't know if I want to specialize, but I'm really dedicating my second year here to exploring all the different facets of dentistry. And because we have all the specialties offered in the dental profession, it is so easy to explore what you want to do. Literally, for example, if you want to explore pediatric dentistry or oral surgery, all you have to do is walk down one floor in our dental clinic, and there is a specialty clinic with faculty that is ready to let you observe, let you shadow, and let you assist. So I think that's one way that our dental education is being shaped in a unique fashion. Great. Okay, so now we have the questions that you all have submitted. So one of them is, are any of you non-traditional students, and how would you like to share your path? I guess you're a little non-traditional.
Yeah, I can say kind of non-traditional because I'm an international dentist already. So and I got into advanced standing, and I get directly admission into the third year of dental school. So I just do 2 years in the entire school, and my path was slightly different. As an international dentist, we have a lot of competition. There are usually around 1,500 applications every year, and 28 seats total for international students. So for me, it was really challenging. I applied to UCSF 3 times and I got in the third time. So for it was so first time when you get rejected, yes, you feel disheartened and you think this is end of the world. But what I have learned through all these challenges is persistence is the key. So fear of failure is not big than the dreams you have. So believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, no matter what challenges you face. We always face like getting into dental school is one challenge, but then there are greater challenges when you graduate in life, like finding a job, insurance, student loans. There are so many things. This is not the end. This is just the first step. It can be overwhelming, but stay on. Believe in yourself, work hard, and just keep on trying. There's always something better you can do every year. Even if you don't get in your first attempt in your dream school, try again. It's not the end of the world, and believe me, you will reach.
Wonderful. Did you say something?
So I took a year off.
Okay.
Is that what I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I took a year off. For myself, like I had mentioned before, I've been saying I wanted to be a dentist since I was like 12 years old, and I had to like think back. I'm like, am I really doing this because like I've been saying this for my whole entire life and everyone expects me to do this, or am I really doing this because this is something I really and truly love? So I took a year off. I shadowed. I worked with my parents at my parents' like office, and just made. So I was pretty lucky because I was like able to just go on. Usually, so I did a lot of shadowing. I did a lot of mission trips. That I went on just to reaffirm my love for dentistry. And I was like, okay, yeah, there's nothing else in this world that I would rather do. And I would really encourage people who are like second guessing. You don't want to get into dental school. Like dental school costs a lot of money. You guys will be investing so much, which is a worthy investment. Don't get me wrong, this is what you want to do, but you don't want to start investing all this money to not continue your education in the dental program after you've worked so hard. So just make sure you know this is what you want to do. And I'm sure you do, but just take time, make sure like you're asking the dentist that you're shadowing different questions, shadow into different specialties as well. I think that's one of the things that I didn't do as much in my time off or in my undergrad years was like going to different specialties because you might not like general dentistry as much, but I know it might be what you love, or oral surgery, or ortho, or peds. So just taking time to look into it. So yeah, and take a break. Honestly, I took a mental break. I did too much in undergrad, so I just wanted to take a break before I actually got here as well. So
Yeah.
definitely encourage a gap year for sure.
Yeah, I think calendar wise, I didn't like I went to dental school straight, but I finished college a couple of quarters early, so I kind of made a little gap, almost 1 year for myself. And I, no matter which like shape or form it takes, I would say definitely take a break from school before starting dental school. I think sometimes we forget to like celebrate different parts of our life. Like you just got your bachelor's degree, you worked incredibly hard for it, you apply to dental school, celebrate that, look forward to the next thing. Because I think it's really easy to stress out and get anxious of trying to get to the next step so quickly. But taking time off is great. Highly recommend it. Yeah.
I also didn't take time off between undergrad and graduate school, but I like to people like everyone has their own timeline. Like there's no rush or checklist like you have to do like this by this age. And the average age of my class is 23, 24. So most of us are actually not even traditional students, or I don't even know why it's called traditional anymore. Most people are taking these gap years, and taking those gap years is really like advantageous because now like you can focus on to see if dentistry is really right for you. Because when you're in undergrad, you're so busy with school, you're so busy with work and like extracurriculars that like it's really hard to make that time to like really pursue different career choices. So just looking at whether or not like dentistry is for you, this is a great time for your gap year to travel and get those experiences, and those experiences will like build you up as an applicant when you are ready to apply.
Great. Okay, our second question is what opportunities does UCSF provide to their dental students to volunteer in the community?
Gosh, way too many.
Maybe we can all list like one student org and one opportunity that we've had.
Yeah, and it's happening daily. I would say on a daily basis. Like you will be spoiled for choices. Like you want to go here or go over there. Like it's happening all the time. I think it's equivalent to the amount of dentistry we do in clinics and the community service. And I think it goes hand in hand.
I think I should really talk about this one because I'm actually involved with the CDC, which is actually going on tonight. Which for those who don't know, CDC stands for Community Dental Clinic. It's a free clinic that UCSF students run every Wednesday. And it's where they're able to provide free care for like the community. And these are students, like keep in mind, like they have an intense clinic schedule. They have their own patients that they have to see after school. But then, like at the end of the day, at nighttime, like they come to see like these patients who really need that healthcare, who don't have insurance, who don't have like the means to normally get dental care. And it goes to show like UCSF students do really care about the community. It's not like just a research institution that we're here to become dentists and become researchers, but we're here because we want to be a good dentist. And being part of, I think being a good part of being a good dentist is having that service aspect and giving back to the community, using our skills to improve like the livelihood of people who actually really need this done with them.
CDC is one of the big things that we have here at UCSF. I think too. So in part, like in addition to CDC, we have like is it 30 or 60? Like how many RCOs do we have?
I think we have over 60 student orgs on campus.
Yeah. So over 60 RCOs, and literally all of those RCOs have some sort of community service. Some of them are focused on the specialties. Some of them are focused on specific communities. So there's literally, like you were saying, like there's like 3 outreach events in one day sometimes. So there's like so many different things that you can get involved with. And if you're not a fan of this thing, there's this thing that you can go to the next week. So it's really amazing that there's never a shortage of like community service that you can do here at UCSF.
And it's not just a dental stuff too. There are non-dental things also you can do.
And
they're like swimming with the special needs children. So there's something.
TDPD.
Yeah. So there are different things which you can be involved in. So there are a ton of choices.
Yeah, and a lot of it is volunteer based, but there's also service activities that's incorporated into our dental school curriculum. So I'm a D2 right now, and I just did it the past year, but we have this class called community-based dentistry, where one of our faculty, she's a public health specialist, they teach us how to do oral health screenings and cancer screenings and fluoride varnishes for basically the general population, so that includes children and adults. And so our class breaks up into a couple of groups, and we go to local high schools and elementary schools in San Francisco, and we teach them oral health education, how to properly brush their teeth. So if it's for kids, we like to do it with like stuffed animals. We like to sing songs, make it really fun. We kind of pull on all the talents from the people in our class. Like some people play instruments, some people sing. Gabby does both. And then for the high schoolers, we try and connect with them on a different level because we are aware of our audience, but we do definitely do a lot of outreach at our school. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, does UCSF have any type of scholarship or financial aid? I received a couple of variations of these questions. It seems like a lot of people are worried about the cost of living and cost of education.
Which you should be, which is a good.
Yeah, you should. If you're thinking about that, you're thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You guys probably know.
I do think that, so I mean, dental school is really expensive in general, anywhere that you're gonna go, but I think UCSF has a really, really good rate. I'm not an in-state student, but I know their in-state tuition is like super low, like compared to the other California schools, which is pretty amazing. I have like a scholarship from out of state, but there's like a stipend that they give every student. Not that one, the grant. There's like a $5,000 grant that I think like every student. You guys have that?
I got a lot of grants.
Okay, so so like there's so many grants that you get, at least for the 5,000 for sure. I think every student's gotten that for like the past 5 years. So you have grants. There's different things that UCSF does in general. Like we have, it's kind of like not that, but like it's kind of like food stamps. We call it Cal Fresh. Well, it's basically food stamps, and like every single person's on that. Most like every student is on that. It's like $200 a month. The COLS, the cost of living supplement, if you live off campus, that's $2,400 a year. So that's $200, and then $200 for food. So that's $400 a month that you're just getting alone from being at UCSF, which is pretty incredible. We have the student food market. Yeah. So it's like every Thursday they have like fresh produce and like snacks for students to come and take. There's a lot of ways that they're trying to cut down the costs. Yeah. So I think our tuition is so low just to supplement the fact, and you can get pretty cheap housing. It's not as expensive if you do your looking. Maybe like your first year you might have a little bit more expensive pricing, but when you've been here for like a year, you can like see the different areas and get a feel for it, and like get some like cheap little places.
Yeah, I mean honestly, San Francisco is one of the more expensive cities to live in if you're considering like all 65 dental schools in the United States. But it's a really good experience for 4 years. We do have a lot of resources that will offset your cost of living here. And I don't know, I think living in the city is really fun. I think it's worth it. I'm probably not going to live in the city again after dental school. So who in their 20s doesn't want to live in a city like this?
Also, there are scholarships too. I forgot to mention that. There are scholarships. I don't know if you guys are applying this cycle or next cycle, but definitely apply early. There are some scholarships that they give to like the students who are getting in their first round. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a pretty big scholarship. Like I think a few students will get in the beginning, so definitely apply for those. And then they have scholarships that go on throughout the school year. So they're always like sending us like different scholarships that you can apply for. So it's not like if you didn't get that one, it's like you can still apply for other scholarships.
Yeah, so big dental school scholarships would be like the National Health Service Corps, the military scholarships, or any type of debt repayment or loan repayment programs. And then aside from that, UCSF also has their own scholarships, which I think most of us have all, if not all of us, have benefited from.
I just recently applied, so like it's kind of fresh for me. So I'm a California resident, and I believe most of our audience is as well. So UCSF was by far probably the most inexpensive option for me out of all dental schools because of that in-state tuition. And on top of that, I received some grants as well. And I think UCSF does a great job of trying to offset that cost of living, which probably is the only concern that I had coming in. So like Naya said, there are a lot of opportunities for like the food market, and they have this program where like they send out mass texts every time that there's food available. So these past like 2 weeks, I've gone to so many lunch and learns and eaten so many sandwiches.
Moana's well fed, everybody.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. But they do good. They're aware of like cost of living in San Francisco, and I think overall it's worth it living in the city. There's so many opportunities here in San Francisco. When are you gonna get another chance to live in San Francisco? Really?
Yeah. Preparing like working in the Fleming lab with a view of Golden Gate. I think that's unbeatable.
Yeah, that's a winner. To piggyback off that, someone asked if there are any like work study positions available at our school. My job to do this with you guys is a work study position, but there are a lot of opportunities. For example, you can be a tutor for D1s in SimLab or in their biomedical science classes, and it pays pretty well. I think it's about $20 an hour. You can, if you are really involved in research and you do it on a volunteer basis, that can often get like a promotion to also a work study job. And the nice thing about work study jobs here is that none of them are taxed, so you get every dollar that you're making, I guess. So yeah, it's doable financially, I would say for sure. The next question is, what are faculty like here at UCSF?
I think we have a myriad of faculties with diverse experiences. Like they have many specialties in different little fields, and I think like let's say from like masters in public health to like clinically from oral surgery or like camera I spoke about like preventive dentistry. There are different faculty with different varying experience as well as that many specialty I was talking about. So you have like opportunity to study from all different faculties, their different point of view. So in dentistry, there is nothing called as black and white. There are a lot of areas of grays and a lot of ways to tackle particular situation. So you can go and talk to different faculties, take their opinion, how what they feel about it, and again, all three or four ways may be right. So this is the advantage of being at UCSF that you get the opportunity to talk to all of them, gather the knowledge, and then you can create your own whatever you feel you're comfortable. So that's what they are going to teach you in the 4 years of dentistry.
My first experience with faculty here was actually during my interview. So, as you may have known, there are student interviewers and faculty interviewers. My faculty interview, I came in there like thinking like, wow, this is like UCSF faculty. Like I gotta make stuff look good. I gotta like be on top of my best behavior and everything. And I was really nervous, to be honest, like going into it. But then as soon as I met him, it all that went away. Like he was so friendly to me. He was I think Dr. Chen or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was great. They really want to get to know you as a person in that interview, and he just so welcoming to me. And I kind of got that impression of all the faculty coming here. They're also approachable and they're really willing to get feedback. I'm vice president for my D1 class, so I get to interact a lot with the faculty. I just had a meeting with some of our anatomy professors like the other week, and they were very receptive to all the feedback we had to give them. They admitted like, okay, there's some pitfalls that we have with like the curriculum, and this is what we're doing to address them. So they're really willing to listen to the students, and I think that's a really big thing in dental school. Like they have to be willing to be flexible and work with the student body because not every class is the same.
I think our faculty kind of just reflects like UCSF in general. Like I mentioned earlier, our students, we are literally amazing people, and our faculty are just as amazing. I think we do a really good job of bringing really smart and intelligent, well-rounded, down-to-earth, humble human beings here, whether it's your students or our faculty. And I think we do, we do a really good job of doing that. I know sometimes people might be scared to like there might be like a faculty just sitting there like doing something like, but honestly if you literally go up to them and ask them a question, they won't stop. Like they're like so excited and down to like just teach you everything that they know, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. You know, so like they're always willing like even for you like you one year like make sure like just go, and they're like a plethora of knowledge and they just want to share it. We do a really good job of hiring people here who actually want to teach. And not just like hiring faculty to say, oh, I work at UCSF. Like they actually want to teach, and they want to make sure that they project their knowledge on you, which is really amazing. And you have so many different opinions or subjective like ideas coming at you, and you can make your own opinions from that, which is really unique. But yeah, I think all of our faculty is really amazing. They're friendly. You can literally go up and talk to any of them, and like literally have a job like at the end of your dental school career, which I think is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Most of our faculty are actually probably volunteers or they're
Mhm.
retired, so they're really just in it for the joy of teaching. And you can tell like they have so much level of expertise. And the cool thing is that everyone has different teaching styles, so you can kind of cater your education, whether that be in sim lab or in clinic, to with who you vibe best with. And for example, if you feel like you don't really connect with one faculty, it's also good to just learn how to interact with different working styles and things like that. But one thing that I really like about our faculty is that they always challenge me to critically think. So sometimes I want to learn a procedure in SimLab, like a one, step two, step three, be done with it, and then I'll feel good about checking the boxes off and going home. But they'll ask me to like dig a little deeper, understand why, how I would apply it in a clinical setting, and it always makes me scratch my head a little bit. But that's when I feel like I'm learning the most. Yeah. Okay, and I think people might be a little skeptical of us because we're just loving on UCSF so much, and they're asking, what do you think are weaknesses of our program?
Yes, definitely. No program is perfect. So weaknesses also depend on your expectations. What expectations you come to school with. So if you have something, some expectation like you want to do ton of root canals in school. So again, I would say yes, we may have few patients less with respect to endo, but at the same time, it's not just UCSF. Schools all over the United States are currently having challenges with respect to finding a good like enough amount of root canal patients. That's what something I would say clinically. And sometimes again, like student to faculty ratio could be challenging on particular days when faculty takes leaves. But at the same time, school is trying to mitigate that by giving creating a group of third year and fourth year students because third year students are just into the clinic, so they may require more time. And the final year students are quicker, so when they have a group of three and third year and fourth year together, so faculty can equally distribute enough time so that they can give enough time to all the students. So again, school is continuously on the path of improvement. We are taking surveys, we are assessing ourselves. We just went through accreditations, and yes, we came out with flying colors. But yeah, these are the few which I can think about. That these are the challenges I faced, and yes, school is doing everything in their means to overcome.
Uh, UCSF. I can't speak much about the clinical, like I said, I just got here. But as far as the didactic curriculum goes, one thing I think about is probably the quarter system. It's like the pacing of it is just so quick, and instead of having like just your finals like twice, like your first semester and your second semester, you have it 3 times, and midterms in between. So then like throughout like the quarter, it feels like really fast paced. Like you have like things like exams were like endless, and on top of that, you do have like the sim lab and everything. But I think at every dental school, you're gonna face like those kind of issues, like with just the amount of information being thrown at you. But UCSF does like a great job at supporting their students through it. Like they want you to pass. Like they will provide you the resources too, and they do have like tutors for you, like Jen mentioned, the peer tutors. And these tutors are there to like they've been in your shoes before. They know like the pitfalls and like tips and tricks that you can do to learn like a certain subject better.
Weaknesses. I think I hear a lot of weaknesses on a daily basis, and strengths as well. But I think um, one weakness I can think of off the top of my head right now is I know a lot of us, especially now in our third year, we're like looking at, oh, what are we going to specialize in? I think I wish that UCSF introduced like specialty programs a little bit earlier in our curriculum. And just our curriculum is formed a little bit, but they're having a whole curriculum restructure. So
They do now, actually,
Yeah.
with clinic immersion.
okay,
Yeah.
but that's like in clinic though. That's not going to specialty.
Or you can go to any specialty clinic and get credit for it.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Well, my weakness is no longer a weakness. They fixed it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so actually, I don't know then.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the biggest things. I guess like patient distribution. We kind of have like how our cases are selected. We get it from like upperclassmen, like that we are kind of paired with. So like better case distribution. But with all that being said, I mean, I have a experience like being president of my class. So, like I literally see all of the work and the changes that our school is doing. So even if there is an issue, like if you literally bring it to our school, they're gonna try to fix it. And I already fixed that one. That's one of the things we complained about a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was fixed. So
Yeah, that was actually really nice. Of
Yeah,
them.
I had no clue. But so yeah, I think that was like those are some of the weaknesses.
Yeah, but at the same time, we do share cases. Like, let's say you have
Yeah,
particular
exactly.
treatment, because again, there is not a good way to assign. Like, we don't know what a patient, like, we do not treat patient according to teeth, but we treat patient as a whole. That is one of the goals at school. So again, what you get, a patient may not have enough treatment you like, but at the same time, at the end of the year or in middle year, let's say someone is going too has done too many crowns and someone is lacking. So we do share. We have that
Yeah.
family connection within us. So that's what we do. We share and care for each other. And at the same time, I got one more point. Like, pass and fail is good for us, but may not be good for you. So again, it's up to your expectation. Like, if you are really that outstanding student and you want to get the numerical score, which might be important to you, or even for your residency, this might be one of the weaknesses of UCSF.
Something that I kind of wanted coming in was seeing patients right off the bat. It's like consistent because in undergrad I worked as a dental assistant, so I was excited to finally be able to do it in dental school. But then during fall quarter, they kind of there's all that so much going on that you really can't probably like integrate into your curriculum, like have those assisting opportunities. But I wish like there was a way that we can just do it like on our own time, in like volunteering. So I know like it's gonna be next quarter when we get to do it. Maybe I'm just being impatient, but that's something I wish I could have done.
Yeah. I'll keep it real with you guys. I think one weakness of our school didactically is that sometimes our professors are such experts in their field that they don't know how to break it down to us as well. So, like, often we're just looking for like big picture. How does this apply clinically in dentistry? What do we need to know? What are we actually going to remember? And they'll like to like pick the little transcription factors and the enzymes that are in this one tiny little pathway for like this really big scope thing. And sometimes I get a little frustrated, but I don't know. I think they know their stuff pretty well, and everything we learn didactically is in preparation for boards. And I just took boards this past summer, and you had to know the enzymes of glycolysis. So I'm not too mad, I guess. But yeah, sometimes it's a little difficult learning. Yeah, but it's justified.
She's just creating a weakness, okay?
Yeah.
So towards it is that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll do one last question, and then we'll call it a night. What is a typical day like for you, and do you have time to do things you like outside of school?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think my day ends typically around 5:30 daily, and then I have all the time in the world. We have ISO time, which is like as an international, I get more than maybe 2 or 3. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 2 sessions. So yeah, I can do a lot of things. Netflix, chill, and be part of various organizations if you want to be involved in extracurricular activities. And overall, since it's a pass and fail, so you don't have to struggle to make those like GPAs and get on top of the field. So again, it's a chill program, calm program. All the students here are really great. You can create long-lasting relationships, and I think yeah, it's a great work balance, like life balance we have here at UCSF. So yeah, it's totally up to you how you want to utilize your time at school. If you are lazy and you just want to chill, this is a place for you. If you're hardworking and you want to excel at something, this is again the place for you. If you want to be a PhD in research, again this is the place for you. This is the most versatile school you can be in.
For me, I don't know about Netflix, but I watch Disney Plus.
Okay.
But yeah, like Earl said, there is that time for you, the ISO, independent study option, basically half days. Today was one of them for me, so I finished at 12, got free lunch and learn, went home, ate some more, took a nap, and came back here to help out with this webinar. But we have 2 of those a week. On the other days, it's 8 to 5, where you have anatomy lectures in the morning, and then anatomy lab or histology in the afternoon, along with some other classes. So they do keep you busy, and we have clinics on Friday, where we learn stuff about taking radiographs, patient care, and the rest of our clinical skills. So that's so far for me for this quarter, and I think it's a pretty good balance between like doing what I love, like volunteering, and learning to be best.
For me, I'm a third year. Third and fourth year is pretty much the same. We're usually in clinic 8 to 5. We do have like an independent study option still. We range anywhere from like the first year's around 1, fourth years are like 2 to 3 throughout the week. They've changed our curriculum a little bit. Where third years are in clinic a little bit more, which is good because we're getting more experience with seeing patients. So yeah, we're usually in clinic from 8 to 5, but I'm super involved. I do a lot of orgs.
She does.
So usually after, I'm like usually running to a meeting or like going to some kind of event. Or even like at lunch, I'm like usually at a meeting or something, or lunch learn, getting some lunch. Um, but I definitely do think I have a lot. I do have not a lot, I wouldn't say, but I definitely do have time to do what I need to do, like outside of school. And I think it's all about how you prioritize your time too. Like if you're procrastinating and like just letting things like fall to the wayside, it's going to be harder for you. But if you're like literally doing what you need to do, get on top of it. Like you have the weekends to do what you want to do outside of school. So I definitely think you can be in school, be super involved, and have a life outside. So
Yeah, and I think that's really characteristic of most of the students at UCSF. For D2, my days are different a little bit every day. They're probably a mix between Luan and Naya, where some days where we have BMS lecture for 4 hours a day, and then we'll have sim lab. Other days we have clinic immersion, and it looks a little bit more like Naya's clinic days. And it depends on if you're in the pre-doc clinic doing general dentistry assisting, or if you're assisting in endo or oral surgery. It may take a different shape and form. And this year we're starting to get a little bit more hands-on in clinic, so we're getting ready to do some more injections on one another, do our cleanings, do exams. So it's getting a lot more hands-on. It's getting a little bit more versatile. It's pretty interesting this year, I would say. Yeah. All right. Well, if we didn't get to any of your questions today, please feel free to submit them to our email, sodotreach@ucsf.edu. Brad and I will we'll check that weekly and we'll get back to you. And our next webinar is going to be December. We're going to be talking about choosing a dental program that fits you best. So good luck to everyone that's interviewing this cycle. If you haven't heard from an interview yet, keep your fingers crossed. We'll keep them crossed for you, and we're wishing you all the best. Don't worry, everyone is going to find exactly where they need to be. And then I think that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for coming out and taking time out of your day. Yep, and so we will see you all the next time. Have
Wish
a good
you
night.
the best.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.